It is 7 o'clock in the evening. You just finished another normal day, and you are standing in front of a decision that looks too small to matter. $5. That is all it is. A small amount of money sitting in your hand. Not enough to buy a house. Not enough to change your life tomorrow. Not enough to make anyone notice. And that is exactly why most people ignore it. Because the decisions that shape your future rarely feel important when you make them. Nobody celebrates saving $5. Nobody sees the thousands of tiny choices happening quietly in the background. Nobody sees the person who chooses patience over comfort. But years later, those invisible choices become visible results. Because your future is not created by one huge decision. It is created by the small decisions you repeat when nobody is watching. Imagine you are 25 years old. You are not wealthy. You do not have a perfect career. You do not know exactly where life will take you. You are just someone who wants a better future. Every day money leaves your hands. A coffee, a snack, a random purchase, something small that feels harmless. And most of the time, it is harmless. The problem is not spending $5 once. The problem is spending it thousands of times and never asking where it could have gone instead. Because that same $5 has two different futures. One future disappears the moment you spend it. The other future begins quietly. No excitement, no instant reward, no moment where you feel like you changed your life. Just a simple choice. You take that $5 and put it somewhere that allows time to work for you. At first it looks meaningless. The number is small. The progress is invisible. You might even wonder if it is worth doing. But something bigger than money has already started. A habit, a new identity. The identity of someone who does not only think about today, someone who also protects the person they will become tomorrow, because the first $5 was never the important part. The important part was the decision behind it, the decision to stop letting every small amount disappear and start building something that can grow while you live your life. The strange thing about wealth is that it usually begins in a way that does not look impressive. It begins quietly, almost invisibly, with a small decision that most people would ignore. And that small decision is where the story begins. 1 year passes. You are now 26 years old. Nothing dramatic happened. You did not become rich overnight. Your life still looks almost exactly the same. You still wake up at the same time. You still go to work. You still deal with the same problems. But somewhere in the background, something changed. Every single day, that small decision continued. $5. Again and again. The account that once looked meaningless now has proof that something is happening. Not a life-changing amount. Not a number that makes people jealous, just a small sign that your future is slowly being built. And this is where most people stop, because humans are designed to notice quick results. We love stories where someone wins instantly, a lucky investment, a sudden opportunity, a shortcut. But real wealth usually does not arrive like that. It arrives quietly. So quietly that most people abandon it before it has a chance to grow. You continue, not because it feels exciting, but because you understand something most people never learn. The beginning is supposed to feel boring. A tree does not look impressive when it is only a seed. A building does not look impressive when it is only the first brick. And your financial future does not look impressive when it is only the first few dollars. But every large thing starts from a small thing repeated long enough. 5 years pass. You are 30 now. Your friends are talking about new phones, expensive vacations, and things they bought to feel successful. And there is nothing wrong with enjoying those things, but you start noticing something. A lot of people are spending money to create the image of a better life, while you are quietly building the foundation of one. Your investment account is not huge, but it exists. And more importantly, the habit exists. You have trained yourself to think differently. You no longer see money only as something to spend. You see it as something that can work, something that can grow, something that can create options. Then one day something happens that tests everything. The market drops. The number on your screen goes down. The money you worked years to build suddenly looks smaller, and this is the moment where most people reveal what they really believe. Because everyone likes investing when prices are rising, everyone feels like a genius when everything is going up. But the real difference is created when things are uncomfortable, when fear appears, when people start running away. You have a choice. You can stop. You can decide it was a mistake. Or you can remember why you started. You were never trying to predict the perfect moment. You were building a system. And systems only work when you stay consistent. So you continue. The same $5, the same boring habit, the same decision, because the people who win long term are usually not the people who are the most excited. They are the people who can stay patient after the excitement disappears. And that patience is where the real transformation begins. You are 35 years old now. 10 years have passed since that first decision. 10 years of small actions that almost nobody noticed. And that is the strange thing about progress. The biggest changes in life often happen so slowly that you do not see them happening. You do not wake up one morning and suddenly become a different person. You become different through thousands of small choices that seemed ordinary at the time. The $5 you invested every day has become something bigger, not just money, proof. Proof that consistency works, proof that patience has value, proof that small actions repeated long enough can create something powerful. But then life does what life always does. It tests you. The economy changes, the market falls. People around you start panicking. The same people who were excited when everything was growing are now telling everyone to get out. They say investing is too risky. They say they knew this was coming. They say you should have protected yourself. And for a moment you feel it too. You look at the number, you see it going down, you remember every dollar you put in, and your brain starts asking the question humans have asked forever: what if I made a mistake? This is the moment where the future is decided, not when everything is easy, when everything is uncertain. Because building wealth is not only about knowing what to do, it is about continuing to do it when your emotions tell you to stop. You remember the reason you started. You were not trying to get rich next week. You were building a relationship with time. You understood that one bad year does not erase years of discipline. So you do something that feels impossible to many people. You do nothing. You stay consistent. You keep investing. While other people are waiting for the perfect moment, you keep showing up. And slowly something changes. The market recovers. The fear disappears. The people who left start coming back. But something important happened while everyone was watching the noise. You were buying when things were uncomfortable. You were building when nobody was celebrating. And that is usually how real progress works. The hardest part is often not starting. The hardest part is staying committed when the results are still invisible. You are now learning the lesson that separates people who build wealth from people who only dream about it. Money does not grow because you are lucky. It grows because you give it time. You allow small decisions to become big results. And the person who started 10 years ago is now creating a future that the person today could not fully imagine. The $5 never changed overnight, but you did. And that was the real investment all along. You are 45 years old now. 20 years have passed since that first $5 decision. And something strange has happened. The money is no longer only coming from you. For years, you were the one pushing every day, every month, every year. You were the one adding small amounts and waiting. But now, Time has started doing its part. The money you invested has been working quietly in the background while you were sleeping, while you were working, while you were living your normal life. Something was growing. And this is the moment most people never reach because they leave before this part begins. They stop when the results are still too small to feel meaningful. They stop because they think nothing is happening, but something was happening. The foundation was being built. At 25, $5 felt like nothing. At 35, it became proof. At 45, it becomes a reminder that small choices can survive longer than motivation. Because motivation disappears, life gets busy, problems appear, unexpected expenses happen. There are moments when you question if you are even making a difference, but the habit stays. And that habit becomes more powerful than feelings. You start looking at money differently. Before, money was something you earned and then exchanged for things. Now money has another purpose. It can buy time. It can create freedom. It can give you choices, not because you became rich overnight, but because you gave your future self something most people never give themselves, a chance. Then you notice something even bigger. The $5 was never really the story. The real story was the person you became while making that decision. You became someone who could delay comfort, someone who could think beyond today, someone who understood that the future is created by what you repeat, not what you wish for. And that changes everything, because once you learn that lesson, it follows you into every part of life. Your career, your health, your relationships, your goals. You realize that almost everything valuable works the same way. Small actions repeated consistently. Over a long enough period, the world celebrates the final result, the successful person, the finished business, the large account. But nobody sees the thousands of invisible choices that created it. Nobody sees the boring days, the ordinary decisions, the moments where quitting would have been easier. But those moments are exactly where the future was built. You are not just watching your money grow anymore. You are watching the proof that patience has power, and the person you became along the way is worth more than the number on the screen. You are 65 years old now. 40 years have passed since that ordinary evening. The day when $5 looked too small to matter. The day when nobody would have noticed what you did. But that small decision followed you through every stage of your life. You did not become wealthy because of one perfect moment. You became wealthy because you respected time. You understood something that most people ignore. Money does not always grow in a way you can see. Sometimes the biggest changes are happening quietly, under the surface, while you are focused on your normal life. The $5 you almost forgot about became something much bigger than money. It became freedom, freedom to make choices, freedom to handle unexpected moments, freedom to know that your future is not completely dependent on tomorrow's paycheck. And the most surprising part is this: you did not need to be the smartest person. You did not need to predict the future. You did not need a secret investment. You only needed a simple action and enough time to let it work. Because the world loves complicated answers. People search for shortcuts. They look for the next big opportunity, the next trend, the next thing that will change everything overnight. But most successful outcomes are created through simple things repeated for a very long time. The boring choices, the quiet choices, the choices nobody claps for. You look back now and realize something, that $5 was never about $5. It was about trust. Trusting your future self enough to sacrifice a little comfort today. Trusting that small actions could become something meaningful. Trusting that time could do what you could not do alone. And maybe that is the biggest lesson. Your future is not built by the person you hope to become one day. It is built by the person you choose to be today. Every small decision is a vote for the life you want, a vote for the person you want to become. Because every day you are given the same choice. Spend everything on the present or leave something behind for the future. The amount is not what matters. The habit is, the decision is, the direction is. Somewhere right now, someone is holding $5. They are wondering if it is too small to matter. And maybe it is. Maybe $5 will not change their life today, but maybe the person who keeps that decision for decades will, because the biggest changes in life rarely begin with something big. They begin with something small, something easy to ignore, something that looks like nothing, until one day you look back and realize that was the moment everything started.